Alright, so you've made it through to video number 19 of the Japanese sound series. It's entitled Would You Like Some Juice, jokingly, but the real title is the modification of S and T. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, in the previous lesson, we showed how to modify the K and G sounds for the kya, kyu, kyo, ka, ku, kyo. In this case, we are going to show how to modify the Z and D sounds. Now, if you remember that the S sound converts to a Z sound when it's voiced. So, sa, shi, su, se, so converts to sa, chi, zu, ze, zo, something like that. And this sound is often combined, again, like in the previous example. So, and it's always the I version of it, so Z. Z can be combined with ya, and we end up with what could be written as zia, but is usually written as ja, or you could even just write it as ja, ja, because that sound otherwise doesn't exist, right? And in the same vein, you can you can combine the Z with the U sound, and you'll get something like ju. This is very similar to the sound like juice. Sometimes you'll see it written like this, particularly in older texts with the ZHU. Finally, if you combine with the yo sound, you'll get zio or zo. So in this case, you'll just write it like this. Once again, these don't really have great examples in English, but you'll find words from time to time that sound like this, even if they're spelled completely differently. So, once again, the Z sound can be zia, ziu, zio, but it sounds more like ja, ju, and jo. And these combinations are used often, and again, in these cases, the ya, yu, and yo part are written in a smaller size when they're written in actual Japanese. For now, you can just remember that these sound combinations exist. So, again, normally they're written with the J as shown in the right-hand side. So the next combination that we want to go over is the, how should we frame this, the D combination. So we take the T and we convert it to D from the Ta series. So we have this, instead of Ta chi tsu te do, we have Da ji zu ze zo do. And so we would receive a combination like this. So let's write it in order, make it easier for everyone to understand. So if we write this out, and we already know that this DI actually doesn't really sound like DI, it sounds like JI. So guess what happens? When we combine it with a ya sound, or a u sound, or an o sound, we are going to get exactly the same thing. Ja, ju, or jo. Now, it's important to note that this is different from the converted Z sound. Even though the sound is basically the same as the result, it's different in the original character which series it came from. This came from the T row, the other ones came from the S row. And this will become apparent when they're actually written in Japanese. The ones that come from this row may be more or less common. So if you guys want to do some homework, find out whether the ja, ju, and jo converted from the D row or the Z row are more common. Once again, if you have any examples, please go ahead and put on the board. Once again, these three rows are the JI sound, just to make it clear.